Now over to Capitol Hill, where late tonight, Democrats and Republicans have put aside their differences to pass a law on deepfake revenge porn, co-sponsored by the unlikely duo of Ted Cruz and Amy Klobuchar.
On this vote, the yeas are 409, the nays are 2. The bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
409 to 2. Not exactly a complete consensus in the House tonight, but still very, very close to it. Overwhelming support for what was unanimous over in the Senate, all to criminalize deepfake revenge porn, to force platforms to remove, quote, non-consensual intimate visual depictions, both real and fake. Now, President Trump says he will sign that bill into law, which will put jail time on the table for people charged and convicted of the crime. Victims of AI-generated harassment and abuse have been pushing this to pass for years.
My classmates created deepfake images of me and other girls at my high school. The most disturbing part, not just that they thought it was okay, but that the school failed to hold them accountable. Teenagers might not know all the laws, but they do know when something is wrong.
The boy used a Google app called DNGG that existed to remove articles of clothing from a photo available for all ages for free. While that app is no longer available, thousands of other apps similar are available. Additionally, social media needs to be required to take action.
Now, that's the other part of this. Big support from big tech, Meta, Google, Microsoft. The list of endorsements goes on. Not only do these companies back the bill, it also holds these companies responsible for removing the kind of newly criminalized content within a 48-hour window put in place under this new law. NPR's tech correspondent Bobby Allyn is in the House. Bobby, great to see you. Welcome back. Now, even if something is fake, I was thinking about this a lot. Even if something is fake, we humans cannot easily unsee something, right? And that sticks with you. And I feel like this is a big social experiment that we didn't really know until we all have experienced this together over the last few years. Is this law getting to the heart of that?
I mean, supporters say it is. In the AI era, these nudify apps have proliferated around the internet. I mean, in a matter of seconds, you can take someone's image, put it into one of these AI generators, and it spits out what looks like a pretty realistic nude photo. People have been extorted. People have been harassed. As we just heard, a number of mostly young women have been victimized by this technology. So this law is saying two things. First, if you publish it, you can be fined or even thrown in jail. You can be prosecuted. And the social media companies that are hosting it, it's trying to hold them accountable as well, as a way of saying, hey, 48 hours should be enough time. If you're Meta, if you're Google, right, you have thousands and thousands of moderators who are looking at content constantly. We're going to give you 2 days to take this down after it's flagged. And if you don't take it down, then there's going to be punishment.
That's the part that is the most fascinating to me. The big tech companies that have been pushing for this, and they are the champions, and yet they will be enforcing it. 48 hours, is that enough time? Is that like too little time? What's that mandate going to look like?
I think it's, you know, for the very easy ones, it's enough time. Like, yes, this is a flag. It came from someone who's being victimized. Let's take it down. But there's going to be some instances where there's going to be questions. Was it consensual? Who made this? Is the person who's flagging it doing it in bad faith? That's been one of the big criticisms of this bill, which is there's no penalties for a false report. So somebody could go on and say, hey, I want this taken down, and it has nothing to do with porn, and it might be an automated AI system that just removes the content. And so that's been one of the biggest criticisms of this bill, which is it going to be weaponized by people who just want to take speech down from the internet? In fact, kind of jokingly, President Trump said when he was addressing Congress a few months ago that he plans to sign it and that he wants to use it himself because he is treated very poorly online. So we'll see how it is used and abused. But many scholars in the world of digital rights fear that it's going to be weaponized, basically.
And, you know, apart from Section 230, which is a whole other conversation to have on a different day, like, does this give some of these big tech companies some shielding from potential liability? Because a lot of these cases, I mean, one of the most tragic instances that we hear over and over again is suicide. These things sometimes result in suicide. Is this going to allow companies to say, hey, look, you know, like, it's not our fault. The law makes us take it down in 48 hours and we complied here?
I think it's going to give the social media companies latitude to take down a lot of different content. As soon as there's a flag, they're just going to take it down. When you talk to the companies, though, they support this bill because it gets rid of this patchwork of state laws that we've been seeing around the country. So now there's one unified federal piece of legislation that gives them kind of a consistent set of rules across the board. But to your point, absolutely, I think, you know, if something is removed from Instagram and from YouTube or whatever platform, you can imagine the companies can say, hey, we're just complying with this law. We maybe took it down out of an abundance of caution. Maybe later we see we did that mistakenly, but it's going to give them basically carte blanche to just take down tons of content. And free speech advocates are again, really, really worried about this being abused in that way.
And the other thing that a lot of people are talking about is privacy, and like end-to-end encryption on a lot of these apps has been a selling point. Like, the company doesn't even know what people are talking about because they don't have access to like the messages, right? And yet, you know, when it comes to this, does that end-to-end encryption end? Is it over? Are they going to be able to see some of these images and then take proactive action, or are things going to remain how they are right now?
Yeah, encryption advocates were really worried about this in the beginning, fearing that, hey, if there's a report made to, say, Signal, one of the leading encryption apps, that they would somehow break encryption and go into our messages and try to remove something. The lawmakers behind this bill have come out recently and clarified this is really only meant to apply to public-facing social media apps. So all those fears about this breaking encryption and violating our privacy, at least according to the lawmakers, shouldn't be that much of a concern, but it's still something that's being debated.
Yeah. Bobby Allyn, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.